This video is brought to you by MoviePalette.com and enter ROOM15 for 15% off of your palette. Pooka see, Pooka do, Pooka me, Pooka you. You'll never know what Pooka will do. Try getting that shit out of your head by the end of this movie. Yeah, I am the Blood Guy, and it is officially Christmas Eve, so I figured time for another Christmas movie. I wanted to do at least one, and then since my last review was Hulu's Into the Dark Season 2 Christmas episode, Nasty Piece of Work, I did all of Season 1 sometime over the summer, except for this one, so figured save this for Christmas Eve. It is the Season 1 Christmas episode, Pooka. Which, yes, back when I was doing Hulu's Into the Dark over the summer, I did start watching this. I got about 15 minutes in and I thought, wait, this is Christmas. Why don't I just save it for December? And so that's what I did. And then, of course, I got really heavy into the serial killer films and I didn't really feel like doing Christmas movies. But I figured I should do at least one, and it was going to be Pooka. But then I watched Nasty Piece of Work as well, and I ended up reviewing that first. So this is my review for Pooka. Again, just for those that don't know, Into the Dark is an anthology series co-produced between Hulu and Blumhouse, which if you follow my channel, you know I am not a fan of Blumhouse. But I have, for the most part, liked these Into the Dark films. And they came out each month, each one centered around the holiday of that month. Pooka, coming out in December, is the Christmas one. And it was directed by Nacho Vigalondo, which I'm not sure what else this guy has done. Nothing I've seen. I've heard of these films: Colossal, Open Windows, Extraterrestrial, Time Crimes. I've heard of those films, but I haven't seen them. Written by Gerald W. Olson, produced by a lot of people. Features music by Bear McCreary, which I've heard that name. A lot of shows like Battlestar Galactica, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Walking Dead, Rings of Power. Also several video games. So the guy's done a lot of work, and this has really ominous, very foreboding music, which I really enjoyed. And it stars Nyasha Hatendi, Latarsha Rose, John Daly, and Dale Dickey, along with Johnny Berryman. Which does it even give me? Yeah, Nyasha Hatendi plays Wilson, our protagonist. Wow. Now, right off the bat, I really enjoyed this film. Myself, along with many other people, based on reviews that I've seen, this is one that really subverted my expectations. Where what I thought this film was going to be and where it was going to go is not at all what I predicted. And as it went along, this movie was always one step ahead of me, which I noticed a lot of people had the same experience. And it did it in a very good way. You never know where this film is going. It's very mindfucky. Keep that in mind. It's very... It kind of has you on a leash. It doesn't spoon feed you anything, so a lot of times the movie feels very confusing. You can definitely tell it's hinting towards something. It's building and leading towards something. You just don't know what. I watched this film twice, actually, because I watched it the other night. And I watched it again tonight just as kind of a refresher. And I've always agreed with Martin Scorsese when he said a film with a good twist means you can go back and rewatch it and it'll feel like two different movies. This might not be as strong as other films that do that, but I could definitely see that upon this second viewing. There's definitely strong hints throughout the film of what it's building towards. But you're probably not going to get it. Now, what I thought this was going to be, just on first impressions and from the first 15 minutes that I watched over the summer, because basically the story is you have this guy Wilson. He's a struggling actor. He goes to this audition, and he gets the part of playing Pooka, which is essentially kind of like a Barney type figure, a guy in a big suit, and there's this line of toys. It's like the hottest toy now. It's kind of a blend of like a Tickle Me Elmo, a Furby, and a Teletubby. It's kind of what it looks like, kind of what it is. And I actually thought there was going to be a lot of social commentary on like consumerism, materialism, especially around the holidays, with the whole Cabbage Patch, Tickle Me Elmo craze that parents go through. Not so much. I mean, kinda, not really. It has little glimpses of that, but the movie's not really about that. It even had little political nods. It showed Pooka with the Make Christmas Great Again hat, but really just a picture gag. It really doesn't delve into social commentary much at all. Maybe more personal. No, I wouldn't even go as far to say that. So, he gets this part to be the guy in the suit for Pooka, and he falls in love with this woman with a young son, and also Pooka, this doll, which, as you can tell from the cover, it's like this weird teddy bear looking thing with these big headlight eyes, a hard red plastic rectangular mouth, and a big red brown furry stomach with a red circle. That's why I think of Teletubbies. But the gimmick of the toy is that it has this recorder and it plays back to you, but it's random. It records whenever it wants, and its eyes glow blue or red for naughty or nice. Kind of reminds me of Gurr from Invader Zim, because when he's good, it's blue. When he's naughty, it's red. And he has like this demonic voice when it repeats back to you, when it's in naughty mode. And he kind of becomes obsessed with the suit, not to the extent that I thought it was going to be. And it seems that Pooka, it's kind of hard to explain without spoilers. I will get into spoilers, because unlike Nasty Piece of Work, it's not where each scene is kind of a twist and a turn. It's kind of more just there. It's all building towards this one reveal at the end. He starts having all these visions and hearing things, and people he cares about being hurt, and it all involving Pooka. And it starts off small, like Pooka destroying his apartment, and it works its way all the way up to him thinking Pooka might be going after his loved ones, or his girlfriend and her son. And it gets to the point where he's obsessed with the suit, and the lines of reality are blurring. He can't tell what's real, what's not, what's a vision, what's real. That's basically the broad strokes of the film. It's really one you kind of got to watch for yourself. Which I was not expecting that at all. If I had to compare the overall film, including the twist, I would say it reminded me more of, though executed way better, sort of the mid-sequel Hellraiser films, specifically Inferno and Hellseeker. Maybe more or less the same kind of morality tale as those. Or like Jacob's Ladder, which, of course, Jacob's Ladder did this kind of story way better, but it did remind me a lot of Jacob's Ladder. But where I thought it was going to go was, I thought it was going to be more maybe like a Goosebumps Haunted Mask, or, and I've heard people say this as well, the film Eli Roth produced, Clown, where I thought he was going to put on the Pooka suit and he couldn't take it off, or it was going to start becoming more of him. The levels of body horror, if it went that route, I wasn't really expecting, either all or no body horror, but I was expecting more along the lines of that. Either like a haunted mask where he can't take it off, or a clown where it becomes that's his body and mindset. It doesn't go that route at all. And from what I've seen in reviews, a lot of people had different predictions of where this was going, and all were wrong, including myself. So that's a very well written, well executed movie. I'm sure people will say, oh, I knew what it was as soon as I heard the title. I'm sure. This is one that I really did not see coming. The acting all around was fairly good. At first, I was kind of iffy on the lead Wilson when he had to do like really emotional acting or be scared. But by the end of the film, he had uh, won me over, and I wanted to see who played his neighbor because she looks Dale Dickey. What the hell else was she in? Merchant of Venice, Oh, that's on Broadway. She was in The Changeling, the version with Angelina Jolie, not the horror film. Iron Man 3, Bloodline, TV shows like Breaking Bad, True Blood. She kind of reminds me of, is it Meg Foster, the one that was in like Tremors and Jeepers Creepers 3? She kind of looks like her. That's actually who I was thinking of. But, yeah, everyone does a good job. And, excuse me, another thing that really tricked me is, I'm not going to say exactly why, but the role of the manager, the CEO of Pooka, he really took me by surprise. Both, I mean, he doesn't have a lot to do, but the guy that played him did a good job. But his character, because when I first watched it over the summer, I saw the opening like audition and him get the part, and it kind of had this Stepford Wives kind of like there's something off-putting about the woman doing the audition and the CEO. So I thought like they're in on it somehow. They're evil. There's something to them. No, the CEO is actually a really good guy. He's actually a good character, and that's something else I've heard in a lot of reviews that people were surprised by that. So this movie does a really, really good job at sort of putting your mind on one path and then completely subverting that expectation, and not like a profound jumping the shark kind of way. It's very seamless, just kind of like, oh, okay, we're going down this path, and it takes a really good writer to do that. So I really commend the writing of this film. Also, the editing and the lighting I thought was really good because the the way it's edited, because there are also scenes that kind of reminded me of like the Stephen King film Secret Window with Johnny Depp, where it's like, okay, so is he Pooka? Is he seeing Pooka do all this stuff? Is he Pooka when he goes to sleep? Because that's the way some scenes kind of play out. Like he goes to sleep, but then, when he loses time, he's in the Pooka suit doing whatever. Kind of made me think of Secret Window in a way. So the way it's edited is very, very well done. Also the lighting. The lighting is awesome in this. It's specifically the scenes with like the hallway in his apartment building with just red and orange, or sometimes in his apartment it'll just be like this red. It's very Argento, very late 70s Argento, kind of red, blue, orange type of lighting. There is a scene where he's after his first date with his girlfriend. He goes home and takes care of himself. And just the way that shot, there's a lot of like wide angle shots that make the apartment look way bigger than it is with this great lighting. It's like this, he's pleasuring himself with the Pooka head, wearing it, and he's doing his thing. But he's back too, and he's in silhouette with this blue light going around him. Very effective. And this also goes just with how mindfucky the film kind of is. Because there's a scene, it'll be like he's seeing things that aren't there. Like probably the best example and the one that really had me go, where's this movie going? He's talking to his girlfriend's son, and he hears the naughty Pooka voice come out of him, which is, you're not going to hurt us, are you? And then he immediately wakes up in their living room, and he hears sirens, and there's like this strobing red and blue light throughout the living room. So right then you're thinking, oh my god, what did he do? But when he goes to the window and peeks out, it's a dead street. There's no one out there, and when he turns around, the lighting is still going, and then it stops. And the way it's lit, and just the wide angle of the room with him walking to the window, great lighting. And it's also that kind of editing. It will just hard cut to just talking to the son, and then just cutting to him waking up. It's almost like the viewer loses time with the character. So very good editing as well. Really like the lighting. There are some clever bits, some cleverness in the writing, like when he goes for the audition in the beginning, I think he's allowed to pick a monologue. So he picks the monologue from A Christmas Carol, when Scrooge is talking to Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come, which makes sense by the end of the film. So like once you get the reveal and you get the final scene, that audition line is actually a very clever foreshadowing. And there's all these little bits that, because the film opens up with the line of naughty Pooka saying, look at the pretty lights. And there's different characters throughout that say that, so that when you get to the end, it makes sense. Or you keep seeing his neighbor, Dale Dickey. You keep seeing her with like a gash in her forehead. And like she'll keep hearing like screeching brakes and a crash. And there's all these hints going on, and you don't quite know where it's going. And of course, it's Drive and him, Wilson, not knowing the lines of reality being blurred. It's sort of bringing out this anger and temperament in him, even towards his girlfriend and son. And, it all makes sense at the end. So I'm not sure what else to say story-wise without getting into spoilers. I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed this way more than I thought I would. There's a lot more to this film than I expected. I would almost say, maybe with a slightly bigger budget, I wouldn't really say the production value, because a lot of the production is very good, like the lighting, like the editing, but it still has that anthology episode feel to it. Maybe if it looked, a little bit more expensive, for lack of a better term, I could see this going to theaters. I mean, I liked it more than some horror films I saw this year. I mean, like Smile. Smile could have been like an Into the Dark episode, and this could have been in theaters. Is it a Christmas classic? No. Did it utilize its Christmas setting? I would say it did more than Nasty Piece of Work. I think Nasty Piece of Work had more of a Christmassy aesthetic, whereas I think this might have actually utilized the holiday season more. But yeah, I was really impressed by this film, and from what I've seen, a lot of people really liked it, and a lot of people were surprised by just the direction it took, the twist at the end, even how some of the characters played out, and just a lot of things they were expecting is not what happened, and ended up being even better than they expected. Now, myself and other reviews I've seen, we were all thinking, okay, it's this really insert generic idea. That's kind of what we were all thinking. But then it did this really cool thing that was actually very clever. And I really like stories like this. So I could definitely recommend it. I don't know if it will be a Christmas classic. I was going to review Pooka Lives because I automatically assumed that was Christmas of season 2. Of course, that's a nasty piece of work. That's actually April Fool's Day. Maybe I'll review that some other time. But as far as Pooka 1, I actually really enjoyed it. So I really didn't want to talk about this for 20 minutes, but so we'll get into spoilers. I'll try to wrap it up very quickly, but yeah, can definitely recommend it. Might not be a huge Christmas classic, but still very good, and I think it will surprise you. And so getting into spoilers, I guess the best way to describe is just say what it is, which is the whole movie is not real. The reason why he can't tell the the line between reality and vision or dream or hallucination is because none of it's real. The film is not happening. It's all in his head. Uh, and some people have interpreted it differently, whether it be it's his dying vision before he crosses over and finally dies, or he's completely disconnected, disassociated within himself and trying to repent. Well, I think repent is in both theories, but I think it's just more of he's disconnecting, going back in his own head and trying to do the right thing. If you ask me, the way what I took from it is he's dying as well. That's why I thought of Jacob's Ladder. I think he's either dead or dying, and he's sort of reliving this cracked mirror version of his former life. And that's really what it is, a cracked mirror version, because okay, the opening line, look at the pretty lights. Why that's being said, and you kind of, it shows this puka on its side saying, look at the pretty lights. You can tell by the street there's flames everywhere. It's in the road. Um, he, it really is tough to explain. Okay, so everyone in the film, well, no. You find out that, okay, in his real life, in real life, he was married to his girlfriend. The boy, Ty, is his biological son. His neighbor, Red, Dale Dickey, is there was a car crash. And, the car crash ended up killing his wife and son. The woman he crashed into was his neighbor, and the EMTs coming to save his life is the CEO of Pooka. And I forgot to look, but I think the other EMT is this guy that keeps popping up throughout the film, like the one that takes the picture of them at the Christmas tree lot, the angry parent on the news when Pooka malfunctions, and I think the one that actually beats up Wilson while he's wearing the Pooka suit. I think he's the other EMT. So, really, all the significant characters are these alternate versions throughout the film. And, all the clues throughout the film are there. Like, look at the pretty lights. Which even when we get the news flash saying that all the Pookas are malfunctioning, only saying one phrase, look at the pretty lights. Because he first meets his girlfriend at this open house. She's a real estate agent. He's been watching her from the Pooka store. CEO gets her number. He goes to the open house. He asks her out. Then they start dating. But throughout the film, he starts getting more angry and agitated and almost abusive towards her. And, by the end of the film, when we get the reveal, he goes to the house. That was the open house. But when he goes in, he realizes, it's kind of like they can't see him, but there's pictures of them as a family all over the walls. Someone's living there. He witnesses his real life. He's the abusive husband and father of Melanie and Ty. And, he gets an argument about, why don't you trust me? You never trust me. And he has a fit of rage and breaks the Christmas tree. which there have been images of a bleeding Christmas tree earlier in the film. There was a scene where, they go buy a Christmas tree together, but then when they get in a bit of an argument, he realizes the tree is missing and she doesn't know what he's talking about. More mindfucky scenes that don't quite make sense until this point. And I know I'm not describing it very well, but... So, yeah, you find out he's the abusive husband and father of Melody and Ty. He says, well, let's go out and get a new tree. So he's racing to the Christmas tree lot. She's trying to comfort Ty in the back seat. She says, look at the pretty lights. He revs up faster. That's when he crashes into the other woman. He's lying in the street. Car explodes, killing them. EMTs come. And, which, there are points throughout the film where it makes it look like he needs the Pooka head to breathe. Like, he can't breathe unless he's wearing it. I think that's supposed to represent the oxygen that the EMT puts on him. Also, the gash that's in his neighbor's head at several points throughout the film. When we see her after the crash, that's the wound that she has. So, it's this really good cracked mirror version, the whole film is, of his actual life. And it seems like he's going through this alternate life trying to save them and trying to repent. But he's kind of doomed to repeat himself. I mean, there's even a part where he thinks Pooka is responsible for everything bad in his life. And he thinks Pooka... Because there is like an evil Pooka that he keeps seeing that looks like it's got gunk, black, like oil, bloody gunk coming out of him. And instead of lights in his eyes, it's just flames. Which could either be hell, where he's going, or it could just represent the flames of the car accident. He decides to go after Pooka at the Christmas tree lot. Which I don't know if this was done on purpose. But the way the trees are lined up with the fake snow on the ground and he's sneaking up on Pooka with an axe, kind of looks like The Shining. But he kills Pooka, then he thinks everything is fine and back to normal. But then, he tries to call them. It's a disconnected number. No one's living at their house. So that's when he goes to the real estate house and he sees his actual life. Even before he goes after Pooka, he tries to call them to say they're in danger. But Ty just says, we're going to the Christmas tree lot. We need a new tree. But then when we see his actual life on their way out to buy the tree, the phone rings. It's that phone call, but it's kind of staticky, as if, say, it's like a ghost calling him. So there's all these hints throughout the film. And what I took from it was he's dying as well. And this is sort of his dying vision. To me, it's essentially Jacob's Ladder. He's not necessarily fighting for his soul, like in Jacob's Ladder. He is trying to repent and make things right, but he's doomed to repeat himself. And that's where the monologue for the audition being the Scrooge Christmas future monologue in Christmas Carol comes into play. Because as he's standing there watching the accident, realizing what he's done, Pooka is then standing next to him, almost kind of acting as Ghost of Christmas Future, yet it's already happened, so it's not really the future. Now, I'm not going to say every parallel from earlier in the film to how it ties into the ending, but I definitely didn't see it coming. So, it's very well written, it's very well edited, some parts even feel very meticulous, and, it does a great job at not feeling random or scattered or feeling like it's full of plot holes or like they don't know what they're doing. You can definitely tell it's well written and they're purposely not spoon feeding you. Just putting things that seem random or confusing or mindfucky, but once you actually get the reveal, everything makes sense and it is well done. And yeah, Pooka does look kind of creepy. There are scenes where Pooka doing things on his own, or it looks like, and it actually is kind of creepy looking. Loved the lighting, really liked the music. The acting all around was pretty good. I would say this is one of the better Into the Dark episodes. It definitely warranted the feature length runtime. Uh, yeah, I really like Puka. I'm not sure what my favorite Into the Dark would be. Uh, a lot of them were kind of forgettable. I would say this one probably has the most rewatch value, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought this was uh, a nasty piece of work, might be more entertaining, and yeah, that might be more entertaining. This is definitely darker. This is and actually kind of a bummer at times. It's a dark bummer of a film, but it is well written. It does kind of show the darker side of Christmas. You know, there are abusive families out there. It's not a feel good Christmas film, even for a horror film. But yeah, I thought it was executed very well. Definitely well written. Definitely edited and placed in such a way. Definitely very good at subverting your expectations. Like again, I thought the CEO was going to be in on it, or even the ringleader of it all, or the mastermind of it all somehow. But no, he's actually a good character. He's actually a good guy. So yeah, much kudos to pretty much everything across the board for this film. I don't really have any complaints. So yeah, that is Puka. I'm not sure when I'll be able, because of course Christmas Eve and Christmas. Probably gonna be busy the next few days. Uh, this might be all the Christmas reviews I do. I am waiting on more serial killer films to come in. Uh, Maybe I will do like a serial killer book, movie, documentary collection once everything comes in. Uh, because I did order myself a couple things, but so yeah, I will have more serial killer films to come. Maybe I'll do like a book collection video or whatever. But that's all planned for after Christmas. So not gonna have a video tomorrow. Sunday, I might have something. So, but in any case, I hope you all have a great, great Christmas and enjoy the holiday. Have fun with your families. And from the Blood Guy to you, have a Merry Christmas.